I remember as a kid, we used to sing this song in the church that we used to go to. It's found here in Psalms, the 3rd chapter, verse 2 and 3. It says, "Many are they who say of me, there is no help for him from God. Selah." In other words, think about that. "But you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory, and the one who lifts up my head." You know, regardless of your enemies, how strong they seem, how many there are that are against you, God gives us a reason to look up and to hope. He lifts up our head, literally. So today, if you find yourself in despair, if you find yourself with situations, circumstances looking like they're overcoming you instead of you overcoming them, I would ask you to look up. Because you go where you're looking. I remember as a kid, my sisters and I were out in the yard and they had been riding their bikes for years and I hadn't learned to ride a bike yet. And they would come out of the driveway and go into the street and turn right or left, because if you kept going, you would hit the curb across the street. And so they got me up on the bike and they said, "Oh, Scott, you can do this, no problem." And I remember they got me up there and I remember they pushed me down that little hill. And I remember saying to myself in my mind, "I'm not going to hit that curb, I'm not going to hit that curb." But guess what? I hit that curb because that's where I was looking. Here's what I want you to see. God wants you to look towards something else. He wants you to look towards someone else. It was only when I stopped looking at that curb that I was then able to go to the right or go to the left and avoid what I'd been experiencing all along, hitting the curb, falling off the bike, crashing, scraping my knees and elbows. Quit looking at your enemies of debt. Quit looking at your enemies of lack or not enough. I'm not telling you to stick your head in the sand, so to speak, but what I'm telling you to do is lift up your head. Look up to God. God is into lifting you up so we can in turn lift up the head of others, restoring hope. One of the ways that we accomplish that is through our generosity. There are a whole lot of people that come to our church with their head down, without hope, without a future. They're in survival mode. I remember years ago there was a gentleman that went to our church. Before he passed away, for 3 or 4 years, he would bring 4 $100 bills to church every single Sunday, and he would pass those $100 bills out to different people in our congregation. There are people that I talk to all the time that remind me of this man, Mike, who had his own business, but every single Sunday brought 4 $100 bills, and he did that year in and year out. When Mike went home to be with the Lord, it was like, gosh, I wonder who the Lord wants to raise up to be generous to these people. Well, I've watched God use me to do that. I've watched God use other people to do that. He may use you to do that from this day forward. But here's what I want you to see. Your generosity literally lifts people up first, then lifts you up second. Try it. Here's your next move. Today, lift someone up.